We have actually had a great week, but I want to begin by, I'm preaching this morning about the perfect sin, and everything that could go wrong has gone wrong so today. And one of those situations. But first of all, I just apologize to Emily's family. That was one of those oversights on our part. We had 4 secretaries out this week, a couple of them due to sickness, and trying to just get it all together. So we missed that one. We had a tremendous vacation Bible school. Total attendance 557, and that's probably the best since I've been here. So that was an awesome thing. 7 professions of faith during the Bible school. So the Lord really blessed us there. Next Sunday, because I know at the end of this service, the people who have Sunday school, they get out early, and they tend to move right down next to the doors. I can hear them, and I know those of you in the back hear them really well as they talk. So next Sunday when you leave, we will have some ropes in the hallway, sort of guides there, so that you can exit and get to your classroom without having to fight the crowd. Now, I know you all will be happy with that. They, on the other hand, will be very upset with me when I make that announcement in the next service. But the noise, we've had so many complaints about the noise volume, and I just don't know any other way to get around that to keep people away from our entrance doors. And then, let's see, you, at the end of the service, if you haven't already received one, there's a little blue ticket. It's for our mission for this week. And Wednesday night, what we'd like for you to do is to go out and have dinner, wherever you want to, anywhere from Crystal to Bonefish. And look around you and find a family and tell the server that you want to pay for that family's meal. So let's pay it forward, and then ask the server to give the person the little card, the blue card that you have. So if you don't have one, you can get one from the ushers as you leave. There are some on the at the welcome desk in the atrium. But this is a great way of us just demonstrating our love. You've done a tremendous job with all the things. We had a great service at the retirement center. Many of you were there to worship with us, and then our musicians were there, so it was a great evening. They even invited us to come back. So I think we'll go back, and we appreciate your contribution to that. I'm finishing today the sermon series from Chronicles, and the sermon title is The Perfect Sin. There is no perfect sin, as you well know, but I want to talk about those situations that lead us into sin. Did you ever reach that point in your life where you think you had it made? You think everything is under control, everything's going just the way you want it to go. And if you've been there, you know that as soon as you get there, as soon as you get everything in place, the cycle starts over again. Now, our grandchildren, 2 of them were on vacation last week, and Darlene had worked really hard to get the house all clean and everything, and it looked good. And then we heard the car in the driveway, and the dog started barking, and 30 minutes later, the house looked like chaos had hit, Toys were all over the place. It was just, let's see how much we can get out in 30 minutes for BB, so everything. And in my own personal life, sometimes I reach that place where I think, boy, it could not be better. And what happens usually then is when we get all this stuff, we grow dissatisfied. We buy that new house, we get that new car, we get that new outfit, we find that new church, and then we change our goals. Immediately, that which brought us to the point of satisfaction no longer satisfies, no longer fulfills. Of all the kings listed in the Bible, the one who had the picture-perfect life was King Solomon. Now, picture-perfect means without any disorder. I mean, everything was just perfectly aligned. But you know what the problem is? Life is not stationary. We can use that term picture-perfect, But life is more of a video than it is a photograph. And so even though Solomon may have had everything that he wanted, he knew that things were going to change. Our scripture reading today from 2 Chronicles chapter 9, beginning with verse 13. This talks about some of the perfection that Solomon inherited. The weight of the gold that Solomon received yearly was 666 talents, not including the revenues brought in by merchants and traders. Also, all the kings of Arabia and the governors of the land brought gold and silver to Solomon. King Solomon made 200 large shields of hammered gold. $136,800 went into each shield. He also made 300 small shields of hammered gold, with $68,400 in each shield. The king put them in the palace of the forest of Lebanon. Then the king made a great throne inlaid with ivory and overlaid with pure gold. The throne had 6 steps, and a footstool of gold was attached to it. On both sides of the seat were armrests with a lion standing beside each of them. 12 lions stood on the 6 steps, one at either end of each step. Nothing like it had ever been made for any other kingdom. All King Solomon's goblets were gold, and all the household articles in the palace of the forest of Lebanon were pure gold. Nothing was made of silver, because silver was considered of little value in Solomon's day. The king had a fleet of trading ships manned by Hiram's men. Once every 3 years it returned, carrying gold, silver, and ivory, and apes and baboons. King Solomon was greater in riches and wisdom than all the other kings of the earth. All the kings of the earth sought audience with Solomon to hear the wisdom God had put in his heart. Year after year, everyone who came brought a gift: articles of silver and gold, and robes, weapons and spices, and horses and mules. Solomon had 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots, and 12,000 horses, which he kept in the chariot cities and also with him in Jerusalem. He ruled over all the kings from the river to the land of the Philistines, as far as the border of Egypt. The king made silver as common in Jerusalem as stones, and cedar as plentiful as sycamore fig trees in the foothills. Solomon's horses were imported from Egypt and from other countries. Now, the chronicler went to great detail to describe Solomon's life, because he said, if anybody ever had it made, if anybody ever had all of their earthly needs met, it was King Solomon. Conditions and situations in our lives set us up for sin. Always happens. Now, sometimes when we are stressed, sometimes when things are going bad, we are really likely to sin. Bad situations have a way of bringing out the worst in us. That's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the situations of being blessed that bring out the sinful nature of human beings. Because most of us in this room have been blessed in so many ways. And yet, there is a sin that emerges from those blessings that hits right into the face of God. Perfect life is what we call it. It's something that we want our kids to have. It's something that we seek so much, that we look for and expect to have a perfect church and a perfect government. So maybe the air being off today is an ideal illustration that life's not going to be around us in perfection. But what happens when you have this perfect life? One of the things is that it often desensitizes us to those around us. when we have everything we need, when we are blessed. I like to be blessed. We have a church that is blessed. We live in a nation that is blessed. Most of you can talk about how God has blessed you and your family. But when we allow our blessings to become an insulation that isolates us from those around us in need, we have sinned. Because God's prayer is that we would always be sensitive to the needs of others. Nothing is worse in his eyes than for us to ignore the plight of his creation.